So let's move to question number 19. How can we deploy a simple web part in SharePoint? In the previous sessions, we had discussed about web part. We have seen that how web part helps us to achieve personalization and customization. Now what we'll do is that in this session we will deploy a simple web part, a simple label web part on a SharePoint page, and see that what are the various steps involved to do the same. So definitely the first step is to create the web part, and as we had previously mentioned that web part is nothing but it's a simple class. So what I've done is that I have made a simple class called a simple label web part, and we had also discussed in the previous session that it needs to be inheriting from the web part class, which belongs to the system.web.ui.webcontrols.webpart namespace. So here's my simple class, simple label web part, inheriting from web part, and I have imported the necessary namespaces in the class, right? Now as I said that this web part will be a simple label, so I need to add the label object to the web part controls. So what I've done is that I have overridden the create child controls method. Now basically create child controls method fires when the web part is initialized, or I'll say when the web part runs as an object, when the web part object is created. I'm sorry. So what I've done is that I have created the label object. I have set some text here saying that hey, this is a label, and I have added the label to the controls collection, and I've compiled. I'll compile this DLL, and it says me build succeeded. Great. So now that my class is created, I've compiled it, the DLL is done. So the second step what we need to do now is basically to add this class in the safe control tag of the web config file. So that's our second step what we need to do. We need to go to the web config file and add safe entry tag. So here's my web config file. My project currently, or my website currently, is hosted on CINET pub www.root wss virtual directories 80. You need to find out that where exactly you are hosting your SharePoint site and then edit the same config file of the virtual directory, right? Now safe control says that okay, it's safe to run this control in the SharePoint runtime. So basically I have added a safe control tag here. I have added an assembly name of my web part. So at this moment it is class library webpart.cs, and I have added the namespace which is the same as the assembly name. That's my namespace name, class library web part, and same you can see here. And I also have added my class name. So that's what we need to do. We need to add the web.conf. We need to add the safe control entry in the web config file. So that's our second step. So moving to step number 3, we need to copy the DLL in the virtual directory of the bin folder. So basically at this moment our virtual directory is 80, virtual CINET pub www.root wss virtual directory 80/bin, and I've copied the DLL class library webpart.dll in that directory. The fourth step is we need to go to the webpart gallery and populate the gallery. Okay, so now that we have made an entry into the web config file, we have copied the DLL in the virtual directory. Now it's time to take the web part DLL, or take the web part inside our SharePoint page. So let's go to a site, click on site settings, click on web parts, click on new, and you can see that your web part is displayed here in the gallery. Now what you need to do is you need to select and say populate the gallery. With this action, what happens is basically this web part gets included in your web part gallery. Now you can see that there are some web parts over here which have already been included, and these are SharePoint web parts. And here's our web part, simple webpart.webpart. So this is simple label webpart.webpart. Now this is our web part, basically which the custom web part which we have imported in the web in the web part gallery, right? And the final step, we need to add the web part to the SharePoint site pages. So what I'll do is that I'll add this web part to my home page itself. Click on site setting, click on edit page, click on add web part, and you can see your web part here, simple label web part. Select it, add it. You can see that your web part is added here. Now you can edit this web part. At this moment you are in the edit mode of the page, remember that. So you can see that your web part is all edit, you can see this, you can see that your web part is open in a edit mode. So click on edit, click on modify shared web part, and what we'll do is that we'll just to understand that how this works, we will just change the height of the web part. So let me say that I'll put some figure here just to show you that how basically the height will change. So you can see that the height has changed, and I'm done with it. Now when I see this web part in the view mode, so I'll go to the home page, and you can see that this web part is at this moment displayed on your home page. So just by a click of a button, it has been added here. Let's do something customization, because the previous customization of height did not work because there is nothing to see here. So what I'll do is I'll just change the name of the web part, the label of the web part. So let me change this as, this is a web part. Okay, and say apply. Now I've done no coding for this admin screen, and it has just been, it just comes as a part of the web part engine. Now you can see that just by click of the button, just by it has changed this to this web part. The text has been changed, the label of the web part is changed. So in other words, we are able to customize this label. Definitely we can do much more than that, because we have not added any custom property in the web part. We have just taken whatever default properties given by web part. So in the coming session, we will see that how we can add custom properties and see that how we can change the behavior of the web part and give more control to the user to do customization and personalization. So I hope that you are comfortable with how to deploy web part. Basically, just the point to remember is that you need to remember these 5 steps. Create the web part. That's what we had done. Inherit from the web part class. Import the namespaces. Copy the go to the web config file and make a safe entry. So that's what we had done as a second step. Copy the DLL in the virtual directory. Right. Go to the web part gallery and populate it. So site action, site settings, web parts. At this moment it is present in our gallery, but in case it was not, you need to go to new, check that web part and populate the gallery. Right. And finally add the web part to the SharePoint pages. So that's what we have done by editing the page. We clicked on site action, we clicked on edit page, and we added the web part to our page. Now the power here, what we have given to the user is that we have made a reusable component, but it is left complete to the user that how he wants to add, in which page he wants to add, and how he wants to go about displaying it. And that is the basic strong feature of web parts. It helps you to customize and personalize reusable functionality, with very minimum coding. Because if you were supposed to do this from scratch using ASCX or ASPX or anything, it will take a hell lot of time. But here, because of the reusable framework of web parts, it becomes very easy to give customization and personalization feature to the user in a very easy fashion.